sports enthusiasts. You've just stepped into the ultimate podcast for all things in youth sports. After the Game is where we break down the game within the game, from coaching strategies to the role of parents and the secrets behind running a top-tier program. Expect insightful conversations, expert tips, and a whole lot of sports banter. Whether you're a coach, a parent, or a player chasing dreams, this is your go-to spot. So fasten your seatbelts. Here are your hosts, Ryan and Chad. Let's dive into the action.
Good evening, everybody. Today we have a special guest. He comes to us from Green Bay, Wisconsin. We have Andrew Cooper. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Very well. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great. So Andrew is a swimmer. He is from a club team. He was a Dunlap Dolphin, a Peoria area water wizard. He was also in high school. That would be a 500 freestyle record in 2012. Do I have that right?
I was. So I broke the record that year. Unfortunately, didn't swim it at the end of the year. One of my teammates, Sam Klister, broke it that same season. So I did get to have the record for a short period of time.
That's fantastic. And then you were a two-time team MVP, a two-time team captain, and a four-time conference Mid-Illini champ, and an IHSA state qualifier 2013 in 100 breaststroke. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's
you got that 100%. Nailed it right on the head there.
Thank you. Well, you got quite the accolades there, guy. So like any good story, there's a beginning, middle, and end. So I'm curious to hear yours. And so let's start from the beginning of what age did you get interested in swimming, and what drew you to the sport?
So at a young age, my sister and I got involved in swimming through lessons at a club called River City. It's an athletic club in Peoria. You can do kind of anything there: weightlifting, gymnastics, and of course swimming. So kind of like the YMCA, they were just doing lessons for kids, and my mom and dad decided, hey, let's put Caroline and Andy in this and see how they do. So it came naturally to me. First lesson, I was in there floating on my back, and they were like, hey, we might have something here. And the coach at the time, Jim Bucher was his name, was a part of trying to look at these kids in lessons and see if there was anybody that had any potential to be on the team. Ended up joining the team that summer at around 8 years old with my sister Caroline, and the rest is history. So got into competitive swimming at about 8 years old and did it through the time I was a fifth year in college. Occasionally still get in and do some laps now, but no competitive master swimming for me yet. So
with that, what had you staying in it for so long?
It just came kind of naturally to me, and I found success at a young age. Super competitive type of swimming that they have in Illinois. Not so much in Wisconsin, but more in Illinois. They do something called country club swimming, and it's summer programs at country clubs around the state of Illinois, central Illinois. I'm originally from Peoria, like you said. So we were at the River City Club in Peoria, and we swim against different teams in the area from different country clubs. So another country club in Peoria that we swam against often, Mount Holly Country Club. We swam against the YMCA, some other teams like that, and it just kind of took flight from there.
Okay, so obviously you're an athlete. You love athletics, sports in general. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. I was a 3-sport athlete until my junior year of high school, when I kind of decided, hey, I really want to do this in college, give this swimming thing a real shot, and committed to that for the full end of my junior year. I didn't end up running track, and I decided to just commit to swimming in the summer and come back the next season, senior year, and give it full go.
So you said track. But you also said 3-sport athlete. What was the third?
So I played football. So I attribute
Really?
a lot of my mentality and motivation with swimming to doing those other sports. So football is a huge one for me. As you know, Ryan, I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Was introduced to that as a young kid, and watching those games with my dad got me into wanting to play myself. And so I played from the time I was in 6th grade to my junior year of high school, and didn't end up playing my senior year to try to stay healthy for swimming. But I loved football.
Okay, so you love football, you have a passion about it, but when it comes to sports, you're just a little bit more passionate about swimming.
Okay. A little more talented.
A little more talented. Okay.
At the swimming aspect of it. So I'd say that football has had a huge impact on my life. Like I said, from a mentality standpoint, just learning that toughness of, hey, you're going to get hit, but you got to get right back up and get back out there. And also gave me the mentality of, yeah, I got to do whatever it takes to try to earn my spot. Naturally a smaller guy. In high school, the max I weighed was 135 pounds. So trying to play varsity football in the 5A class is tough when you're only 135 pounds. So didn't see the field all that much when I was a football player, but my sophomore year got a little bit of a chance to play both ways and do that. But yeah, I'd say that a lot of my mentality and my hustle and my grit comes from playing football.
Okay. So you did gain some qualities from football, but your heart was still involved. You saw more value in swimming. Now, when you compare the two sports, they both come with their benefits and their challenges. So for you, being three-sport athlete, what were the biggest benefit you saw between swimming compared to the other two, the track and the football?
So football is a fun game, man. Like I'd give anything to have been a better football player and been able to do that in college too. Swimming, I mean, it's all about how hard you hustle, how much you work in practice, how you prepare yourself physically and mentally. It's an endurance sport. So it's not as exciting from a practice standpoint as football is. Every day you can show up to practice in football and go, I'm going to make a play today and be impressive in what I'm doing. In swimming, you can still be impressive in what you're doing, but you're not necessarily going to go show up and make a play that stands out to your coach. You're going to show out to your coach by just being there and putting your head down and getting the work done every day. And then on meet day, you really get to show your stuff. So I understand it's similar with games for football. And then when we're talking about track, similar mentality to swimming. With track, I had more success in kind of running distance. And it was something that in middle school, one of my middle school coaches just said, hey, Cooper, I know you're a swimmer. Is track something you'd be interested in doing and trying out and running some distance for me? And as a 7th grader, I had a lot of success in the 800 and the mile. And that kind of propelled me to want to do that my 8th grade year. And then my freshman and sophomore year of high school. So,
wow. So between the track and the swimming, you'd say there are some similarities as far as like the endurance part of it.
Yeah, I mean, practice is it's an endurance sport. So you're just showing up and you're training your body and pushing yourself every day to be the best you can be. And some days are going to suck more than other days. And you know that going into practice. Again, with football, you're kind of showing up and you're like, hey, I gotta understand the playbook. I've got to understand what my responsibilities are. It's a different type of mental sport to play football than it is to swim or run track. Swimming and running track, there might not be as much mental, like, I need to prepare myself, I need to learn a playbook. It's more of, what's the technique, what's the strategy to this race that I'm going into? Am I going to take it out hard and pull back a little bit in the middle and then finish strong? Am I just going to go for it the whole way? What's my game plan that way? Not as much learning plays and all that.
That actually, so 2 questions with that. So first, when you're at a swim meet, how are you mentally preparing for that? And two, what is going through your mind during the meet as you're actually partaking in it? You know, you're in that Olympic size swimming pool, right? I assume it's always an Olympic size.
So you got two questions there for me. So
Yeah.
First I'll answer the pool size question. So
Sure.
depends on the season. So swimming is a year-round sport. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but
No, I was not.
there are club teams that you can swim for. You can swim all year round. Some kids don't even do high school team. They just do club all year round because they prefer that coach and that style of training. And there are meets that they can participate in at any age. So once you hit the age of 15 and up, it's open. So you swim against the men once you're 15 years old, but there's age groups swimming from 14 and down. So that being said, pool size in the winter and what you do in college at the NCAA level is going to be short course yards. And then for the Olympics and in Olympic years in the summer, and I'd say every summer, there are long course meets where you swim in that Olympic size pool. So I've experienced both. Probably a better short course swimmer though than I am a long course swimmer because there's a lot more short course pools here in America. Overseas, you won't see that as much. You'll see short course meters maybe, or long course meters. But Americans, we like to swim short course yards and do a lot more turns, and the races are faster that way.
Okay, so that creates a little more excitement, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
for
it generates
sure.
more excitement. So, which is obviously good, you know, because there are spectators, and that's enjoyable to watch. People that just like to watch competition, such as myself. So, but back to the other question about what's going through your head, what's going through your mind when you're out there, you're doing that short course competition at a meet in, you know, in Wisconsin, Illinois, or you know, wherever your team was traveling to at the time.
Yeah, so two different types of mentalities kind of I'll walk you through. So if it's a dual meet, we're not in a championship setting, and I can kind of talk through the phases that lead up to a championship meet. But if we're just doing a dual meet, let's say it's Dunlap High School against Metamora High School, a team that's in the Mid-Illini Conference. Probably showing up that day, I'm beat down from practice that week, telling myself mentally, hey, we're going to get through today. We're going to try to go win some races and see how it goes. But it's all about trying out some strategies, trying out some different things in a dual meet, because dual meets don't necessarily, especially in college, the regular season doesn't mean as much. You're trying to compete against your teammates to make it to that championship meet. In high school, we wanted to win the meets for sure, the dual meets, but the record really doesn't matter. Everything leads up to this conference meet at the end of the season, or a sectional meet or a state championship meet that you're preparing your body for in high school. And you're just trying to make that conference or sectional team. In high school, it's sectionals that you're really trying to make. In college, it's conference that you're trying to make. And then
Okay.
if you're trying to go to NCAAs based on conference. But mentality going into a dual meet, again, is going to be, hey, this doesn't mean as much as this championship meet for our season. I'm going to work with my coach to understand, hey, this is what we've done in practice this week. My body's beat down. I want to understand kind of what strategy works best for me so that I can go execute that right strategy at the time that I need to at these championship meets.
And what's a typical strategy then?
It depends on what you're racing. If you're a 50 freestyler, the strategy is going to be try to stay underwater as far as you can until the point where you have to come up. You will get DQ'd if you go too far underwater. Not sure if you knew that. There are markers at the 15-meter mark. You have to come up.
Wow.
Probably trying to stay under and work that underwater as far as you can off the start and not breathe. Most 50 freestylers probably breathe maybe once or twice during the race or not at all. So those are things that you think about as you're prepping for the race. Myself being a middle distance and a little bit longer distance swimmer, swimming a race like the 400 IM, I'm thinking through the 400 IM. I'll lay it out here for you. It's 100 meters of butterfly, 100 meters of backstroke, 100 meters of breaststroke, 100 meters of freestyle. So you're thinking through those different phases of the race. How do I want to prepare myself? I was a breaststroker, so I'm going to try to go out with the pack in that 400 in the first 100 meters. In the fly, just stay with everybody. In the backstroke, I'm going to try to not lose the pack too much. That's my weakest stroke. I just want to kind of be in there with everybody in the mix. If I'm in the lead, I'm feeling really, really good going into the breaststroke, knowing that that's my thing. So
Okay.
smack the breaststroke, go all out in the breaststroke, catch up to everybody or increase my lead, and then just bring it home in the freestyle. So that's kind of the mentality. Depending on the meet that you're going into, you're thinking about these strategies and going, what do I want to execute at the end of the day? And in high school, I would say that I didn't have as much of that strategy thought process as I do or did at the college level with some different coaching styles and thought process.
I just have a quick comment about that. Your strategy, I was getting physically tired picturing me being in a pool trying to do that. Wow.
Yeah, no,
That's intense. When you think about physical endurance, swimming is certainly it has to be one of the best out there for a full body exercise. I mean,
100%.
building that lung capacity, putting between arm and leg strength, and not to mention developing back muscles, and you're essentially taking or alleviating any sort of strain on your joints. That's got to be one of the best parts, at least. Or are there? Or correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, are there swim injuries? And that's a good segue into that next question about injuries. Can you get injured from swimming? In competitive swimming, what's that like? How do you prevent that, and how do you move forward?
Yeah, so again, swimming is a great exercise that you can do through your entire life. You'll see a lot of people, all different ages, if you go to your local YMCA or you go to your local aquatic center, whatever that may be. You'll see people of all different ages invested in the sport because it is so good for your entire body. But I will tell you, you can get injured swimming. It's harder to do than in most sports. You don't see a lot of swimmers sitting out from acute injuries. It's more of a repetitive movement injury. So
Such as
I actually, when I was in college, I tore my labrum and my bicep tendon coming into my senior year. We can talk about that a little further down the road, or I can talk about it right now if you'd like
sure,
me to.
let's hear about it. Yeah.
So going into my senior year of college, I worked at UPS in the summer. I'd get up at 4 a.m., go to UPS, load the trucks, and then go take a break for a little while, and then go to the Crest Event Center where the UWGB pool is located, and have one-on-one practice time with my coach, and had a really good summer of preparing my body and getting ready to be ready to go for that that senior year of swimming. The season started, everybody got back on campus, season starts. We're swimming against Valparaiso, and man, something just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I had the full power that I had all summer. My shoulder wasn't really bothering me, but my upper right back was a little bit, and we couldn't figure it out. So I was in the training room every day doing the ice bath, stretching with the trainers, working with the trainers. And I just want to say Green Bay has an incredible training staff, and they really worked me out. I still wasn't performing to what I would say is the Cooper standard. And so ended up going to have an MRI and realizing that shoulder is completely torn, and having to take a year off of trying to decide, hey, I had a big decision at the time to make, to take a year off and come back and swim a fifth year, or just try to work through it and finish the season and not be able to train fully or lift weights. And you know me, I'm not a guy that is good at sitting on the sideline and not being 100% my full self. So I decided to move on with that season and have the surgery and go through all of what it takes to come back from that injury. And it ended up being the right decision to make. I came back and was a little quicker than I was before.
So you became Bionic Cooper is what I'm hearing.
I got 3 anchors put in my shoulder by Dr. Zems. Did fantastic work for me there. And yeah, man, I attribute all of that to a great support system that I have. So family, training room, teammates, coaches, people that believed in me to make that comeback and do it as kind of an old man on campus. So I enjoyed every minute of my swim career, but I think that those last 2 seasons of going through that injury and coming back from that, really special and something that I'll always cherish.
So then what would you consider your greatest swimming achievement so far, or within that career?
Yeah, so I would say my greatest swimming achievement, we set goals at the end of each season. And so that senior year, we have end of year meetings, and I'd been injured all season and walked into Coach Roblo's office. Reed Roblo was my coach at the time, former LSU swimmer that we hired as the head coach at UWGB. And he sat down with me and he's like, Cooper, what do you want to accomplish in this 5th year as you're coming back and making your mark here before you leave? And the way the Horizon League works, like I said, you're competing all season in the regular season against your teammates to make the conference team. And once you make that conference team, you're going to conference with 15 to 17 guys that are going to try to go score points for you. The way you score points is you swim in prelims and you try to qualify to come back at night to swim again, and the top 16. So there's probably around 40-ish guys in each race, and you're trying to beat out 24 of them at a minimum to come back and swim at night. And you get
Only
3
to beat those guys.
Yeah, so you
Again,
get
when
3
you come back. Wow.
3 individual events as a swimmer that you get to be put in, and you can spread them out however you want. You could have all 3 on one day, which is not something that people would recommend, I'm sure. Based upon the lineup, some people have to have multiple events on the same day because that's what they swim. I was fortunate to have 3 races that were on 3 different days of the meet. So meet would start on a Thursday and go through a Saturday every year. So you get that opening night of they just have a relay or 2 that opening night, and then individual events the next 3 days. So my goals coming into that 5th year season were I want to place and score points for my team in each of those 3 individual events that I was going to be doing. And so the goal was try to make top 16 in all 3 races. I really knew that I had a chance in the 4IM and the 200 breaststroke to be a top 8 finisher. And so my goal was want to be top 16 in all 3, but I want to be top 8 in those 2. So I ended up accomplishing that season at the end of the year. Very fortunate, like I said, to have great teammates and great coaching and people that believed in me and my family to push me to get there and be there at the end. I would say my greatest accomplishment was being able to score those points for my team and propel us to a 3rd place finish at the Horizon League Championships, which was the highest finish that we had when I was in college.
Now, was that on a national level, or was that, what was that? Help me gauge that. Was that more of the conference level or
conference level? So
okay.
UWGB is in the Horizon League. There are several other schools. I'll just name a couple of them. So Wright State was in the Horizon League for men's swimming and diving at the time. We have Cleveland State and Oakland University. Those 2 are 2 of the top tier programs.
Okay.
In the Horizon League. Oakland has not lost a championship, from my understanding, for I believe almost 20 years. So they're a dominant program.
What do you suppose that is?
Culture, recruiting.
Culture, okay.
coaching.
Coaching. Okay.
I mean, they invest a great deal in their swim program. That's one of the things that Oakland is known for as a college, and so they get swimming is all about recruiting. I can talk about that a little bit too. We swam against the Wisconsin Badgers every year. We're in the same division as them. So Green Bay is a Division I school. I'll get back to Oakland here in a second. I'm not trying to get too off topic, but Wisconsin, unless they DQ'd a number of events, is never going to lose to the UWGB Phoenix. Love the Phoenix. I have the Phoenix logo tattooed on my back. We're not going to beat Wisconsin just simply due to recruiting, and swimming is a cut and dry sport with time. So if you get better recruits, you get faster, more naturally gifted kids, you're going to win more meets. So Oakland has a great recruiting program, and they get some top tier talent coming to that school, even though it's a mid-major school. It's not necessarily a Power 5 conference school. They're in the Horizon League. So so I'd say that's how Oakland continues to do it each season. They have a great culture there and produce great results.
And then real quick for our listeners and viewers, please, if you have any comments or questions for Cooper, please feel free to throw this in the comment section. So, Mr. Cooper, what was your parents' role in all this, in your collegiate career, in your entire swim career, rather?
Yeah, so I have to give a lot of love and talk about how blessed I am to have the two parents that I have. So Rob and Karen Cooper are my rocks, my support system. My mom especially, though. So at a young age, at probably 10 to 14 years old, like I said, I love football. Football was the thing that I wanted to be in the NFL. I was like, this is my passion. I freaking love football. So my mom always knew and saw the talent in me in swimming and knew that I could really excel at that and that someday I might be able to do it at the collegiate level. So she got me prepared every day. She pushed me to go to practice every day. She drove me to the pool multiple times a week, probably 5 to 6 times a week, depending on the practice schedule that we had during whatever season we were in. I also want to give some love to some of the other people that supported me. Not shying away from my dad here at all. My dad is a huge supporter and was always extremely positive with feedback for me, even if I had a bad meet. My dad was there saying, "Hey, Coop, we're going to get him next time. We're ready to go." But my mom was truly the driver in my swim career, from getting me there, helping me in the recruiting process, those things. But people like my aunt driving me to practice in the summertime when we had to go at 6 a.m. to the pool, to country club swimming. So my Aunt Katie was a huge supporter. And then I'd like to say too that I have really close family friends. My friend Jake Vandermeide, bless his soul, passed away a couple years ago from cancer. His parents, Tina and Carl, are there too, super supportive of me throughout my swim career. Came to meets, came to a couple college meets to see me swim. So want to give them some love as well. But I had a very great support system growing up, and very blessed to have those people taking me to practice every day and picking me up and pushing me to be the best that I could be.
That definitely sparks something there. Having that support system, like you mentioned, is very important in a child's growth and development. Even not just athletically, but academically too. Having that,
100%.
I understand that there's instances where maybe there's a one-parent household, but the more you have to help support and grow and nurture, the better. So that's really wonderful to hear that you had such a massive family of loved ones that were all about seeing your success and pushing you to grow into your own with your swimming career. So why Green Bay? Why UW Green Bay?
This is a great question.
I was excited to ask this.
So my coach, Jim Murner, who probably will see this at some point, will probably laugh at my response here, but I wasn't a super heavily recruited swimmer. So we'll start with high school just a little bit, and then I'll get into the recruiting process.
Sure.
But throughout high school, like I said, I played 3 sports until my junior year. We at sectionals, you qualify for the IHSA state championships, and Illinois is a super competitive high school swimming environment. They don't have divisions broken out. Everybody's in the same pool. So no matter how small of a school you are, you're swimming against the big Chicago schools at the end of the day. So I had just missed qualifying for the IHSA state championships as a junior, and that broke my heart. I thought that I was the type of swimmer that should be there and should be competing there, and just said, screw it. I'm done playing football. I'm not going to run track this spring. I'm just going to keep swimming because I really want to make it. I need to make it to be there. So throughout that process, ended up making it to the state championship my senior year after committing to swimming. And my 59-second 100 breaststroke was enough to get me some attention from colleges in the area. Monmouth College, which is a Division III school, recruited me heavily to swim there.
And where's that?
It's near Peoria.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure where it is.
Okay, it's in Illinois.
Yeah, I believe it's in Monmouth, Illinois, but
okay.
I could be wrong on that too. I didn't end up taking a visit there, clearly. But I was also recruited by Wisconsin Stevens Point, UW Green Bay, and Ball State. And I really wanted to be a Division I swimmer. There's just some weight that carries to that I really wanted to say, I was a Division I athlete. I made it to this level. I can do this. So I went, my parents were going to be moving to Wisconsin for my dad's job after I graduated high school. Unfortunately, my sisters, Caroline and Anna, had to move up there. Anna was young enough to where it didn't impact her as much, but Caroline was in high school, so she had to move halfway through high school up there. And like I said, my family's my rock, my support system. So I wanted to be close enough to them to where I could visit them easily and not have to drive 7 hours back down to Peoria. So I wanted to choose a Wisconsin school is what I decided. And so we decided to do a 2-in-1 weekend recruiting trip, and Coach Murner with the UWGB Phoenix invited me up, and the Stevens Point coach at the time invited me to visit on campus as well. So we went to Stevens Point on Saturday, and I had a great conversation with the coach. Stevens Point is a really good Division III swim program and has seen a lot of success there, but something just clicked when I got on campus on Sunday with the Phoenix. And it was kind of funny because after going to Stevens Point, I thought, well, this might be where I want to go. I don't even know if I want to go do the UWGB thing and go see the school and stuff. I did want to be a Division I swimmer, but I just wasn't sold on it yet. So got to campus and took a tour and met Coach Murner, and in person anyway. I'd talked to him over the phone, but hadn't got to meet him in person. And he won me over and offered me a scholarship on the spot. And leaving that day, I still thought I might want to go check out Ball State. But again, I wanted to be close to my family. And my mom said to me in the car, she goes, Andy, if you don't make a decision on this Green Bay thing, it might be gone and you might not be able to be a Division I swimmer like you want to be. And so made the decision by that Monday and called Jim back and said, I want to be a Phoenix. I'm going to be a part of the culture there. And it was awesome.
That's interesting. So back to what you said about your mother was that real driving force, and seeing that that fire in you, that you can be a great swimmer, that you have a natural talent to it. And she pushed you. She gave you that push.
Oh, yeah.
I think of the literally, you could almost compare that to how a mother bird chicks hatch and they get to a certain age, and the mother just basically pushes them right out the nest. Nope, it's your time. It's your time to fly, little Phoenix.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you, my mom, biggest supporter, and always there for me throughout the recruiting process. There are sites like Be Recruited was one that I used. She helped me set up the profile for it. She helped me craft emails to coaches to send out to say, hey, these are my current times. This is how I'm doing. I'm interested in your program. I want to be a part of it. That Be Recruited process really is how Jim found me. And like I said, I wasn't a highly touted recruit. I got to the UWGB team, and like you talked about at the beginning, I was a 2-time team captain. I was a 2-time team MVP for my high school team, and
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll talk about that more. So I do have a question on that. So being a captain, what were your contributions to the team? What was the pressure like? Being the team captain, and what were some of the leadership qualities that you found in yourself?
Yeah, so when I got to high school swimming, I would say kind of revitalized my passion for the sport. High school swimming is a real team sport in Illinois anyway. And swimming is a very individualized sport. You're out there, you're competing against yourself for the best time, but also against your teammates and the other guys in the pool, but you're in your own lane. It's all you. There's not a whole lot that the other opponents or swimmers in the pool can do to stop you. So as far as the captain thing goes, I ended up being voted a captain by my teammates in high school as well as college. I think just my contributions from high school from a success standpoint in the pool, winning a lot of races and just having an overall positive attitude and being really good friends with the guys is kind of what propelled me to that. From a captain standpoint, some of the qualities that got me there, I said, again, we'll say football. I was kind of a big rah-rah guy in high school. I like to pump my teammates up. I also, though, couldn't stand when guys weren't hustling. So a little conflict that we had there a couple times. Like I said, my best friend, Jake Vandermeide, I can remember a time where it was him and I in the pool, and he was a sprinter and I was more of a, like I said, middle distance, longer distance swimmer. And we were doing some longer work that day, and Jake was kind of loafing it. And so Jake and I got into it, but we were co-captains and working together to lead the team. So getting a little off track here, but just wanted to say
no, you're right on track. You're right on course, actually. In fact, that's an excellent segue. So how did you deal with that conflict? And
I'd say at a young age, not super well. Got into some shouting matches with guys on the pool deck occasionally, and learned quickly that you can't lead with emotion when you're a leader on the team. You gotta lead with facts and speak the truth to your teammates about why you're upset and why you're emotional in the moment. And I think that really, once Jake and I had a conversation about that and said, man, I just want the best for you and I want to see the best out of you and want you to hustle. He completely understood that. But then I also got to understand his point of view. Sprinters don't need as much of that long distance work. I really understood that much more when I got to college. And we had the different groups of training broken out. Sprinters doing stuff like jugs, and we can talk about jugs and stuff later. But yeah, so understanding emotions and how to handle myself better definitely propelled me to more success later down the road.
I think that's a very good example to the audience about conflict resolution. So there was a lot of seeking to understand each other, right? Essentially, you guys were speaking two different languages, you could say, between 100%. Your middle or long distance and your sprinter. You wanted to hustle. You saw it one way that, hey, look, I need you 110% at all times for yourself and for the team, especially as co-captain. But then after he explained himself and understanding that, look, it's a totally different paradigm with the being a sprinter, And so once he helped you
100%.
to understand his position on that, you guys saw eye to eye better, and you were more supportive of each other, and setting a great example as leaders within your team.
Yeah, and we had a lot of success in high school. Like I said, that led me to have a great college career and really be able to build better relationships with my college teammates based upon some of the conflict and some of the struggles that we had, not in the pool, but outside of the pool a little bit, with each other at times, because best friends occasionally, I'm sure you know this with your buddy, Mr. Sorry at the office, you butt heads occasionally. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay. So that's you bring up that's a very good point there. So being able to have the difficult conversations, even with your best friends,
Yeah.
and no one likes being uncomfortable, but you do not, and I think you are 100% the epitome of this. You do not grow unless you're uncomfortable. And so I would say you throw anybody in the pool, hey, you got to sink or swim. That's pretty uncomfortable. You learn to swim fast.
100%.
And that's a lot of growth right there. So with you being a leader, I mean, within that team and having that leadership experience, how did you benefit from that post college outside of swimming? Did you see a benefit to that?
Oh, definitely. I attribute my work ethic and my mentality a lot of days from a positive standpoint, from sports. So, and my siblings will laugh at this if they give this a listen, but I have this mentality at all times that I want to be the best version of myself every single day that I show up. And so,
That's good.
and so in my career, I found success early on at Schneider National with you, Blake. I think because I wanted to be the best version of myself every day. I wanted to show up. I wanted to be good for my leaders like Justin Manning, who you had on the show, and wanted to take on more responsibility and lead people, because I got to do that in swimming, and really enjoyed that. And I really enjoy the people leadership piece of life after swimming.
Wow, that is really something there. So it was very inspiring too, and it left a huge mark on you that while I enjoyed being a captain, I enjoyed I enjoyed the sport, but I also enjoyed leading and setting the example, gaining that experience, seeing and coaching and mentoring, your team, your peers, and your subordinates, and that carried on with you into your post college career. So that's really something. I think a lot of people I think there's a lot of people there that don't understand or may misinterpret those values, those byproducts of being involved in sports, whether it's stick and ball, whether it's track, whether it's in the pool. There's a lot of value in all of that, in teaching your son not only just being a competitor, good at something physically, but mentally, that mental strength, that mental dexterity. I mean, you've done middle to long distance. How long does that typically take? How many laps is that? Is that like a 30-minute swim?
So
20 minutes?
So are we talking about a race, or are we talking about practice?
Let's say it's a race. How long does that go for, or even practice? What's the duration of that?
So my longest race, like I said, was the 4 IM. I did swim the mile, and I swam some of those longer distance races, the 1,000 freestyle, in college a couple times. But truly, the sports or the events that I did, not sports, were the longest one I did was the 4 IM, and that is 16:25. So 16 times you're going down one way. So
Wow.
8 times if you're doing down and backs. So, and 4 different strokes in that race. So that's probably my favorite event, out of all the events. if I had one to choose, I would probably choose that one. And a lot of guys would probably shy away from that. But one of my college teammates, who was also a captain in college with me, Thomas Everson, I think, and I would both say that that was our forte, because like we talked about earlier, there's a lot of strategy that goes into a race like that.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's kind of fun to be able to change it up a little bit with the strokes.
You know, before this interview, I knew, I mean, obviously, you know my military background, or Marine, it's in the name.
Yep.
I'm a swimmer, but nowhere near the level that you are. And I didn't know all too much about, your style of swimming until, this interview. And I got to say, man, that is some impressive stuff, especially the strategy that goes in it. I had no idea that there was even a strategy to be in. I thought it's like, just start swimming,
Well, and
is that a common misconception?
It might be. I would say that from a high school swimming perspective,
Yeah.
I was just trying to go as fast as I could for as long as I could and hang on. Like I said, I swam the 500 in high school a couple times. It wasn't my main thing, but that race, it's a long freaking race. So it's 20 laps, not 16. But races like that, man, you're just hanging on to try to get them done. And the guys who are really, really good can sprint the whole thing. But
wow.
Yeah, that wasn't me. I was not the sprint the whole 500 guy. If I was from the 500, I probably had a strategy of, I'm going to go out with the pack and then kick it in the back half as hard as I can. But more than anything these days, you see guys that can just sprint the whole thing.
So what was a typical training schedule? Oh, we got a question for you, actually. Let me see here. Okay. So how have you taken that self-accountability mindset and used it to handle outside barriers in life, work, and personal? And that question comes from Justin Manning.
Yeah. So having self-accountability is something that I have to have as a young man every day when I show up. And like I said, I wear this Green Bay Phoenix gear and have this Green Bay Phoenix background going, and the Schneider mentality that I anytime I'm in public, I represent those things. Those things are a part of me. I have to have that self-accountability in my personal life to be an upstanding citizen, be somebody that people look up to as a leader at Schneider. And having been a former Division I athlete for the Phoenix, I don't want to let those people down. I also want to make sure that brand stays intact and that I'm raising that level of that brand. So if I'm not doing that, I don't feel like I'm holding myself accountable. And I need to be that person in my mind. And then personally, I want to be the best version of myself, like I said, every single day, for my family, for my beautiful fiance, Lauren.
That's right.
And the other people that love me. So yeah, that's how I'd answer that one.
I'd say I think you answered that very well. I don't think you could have said that any better, Andrew. That was pretty good.
Well, thank you.
You know, you're a sharp young man. You're a steward of the business, and you're a steward of your Green Bay Phoenix background, and you're a steward of the Cooper Gold Standard, if you will.
Yeah. I know we're closing in on time.
We're getting close on time. We still got we got about 10 more minutes to go.
Okay.
So yeah, we got some time yet for some more questioning. So awesome. I mean, what was a typical training schedule? I do want to know about that. What was a typical training schedule like? What was start a day to end a day, literally the moment you wake up?
That's a great question. So I'm going to walk you through college because I think that's a little more exciting. Not that high school isn't fun, but when I got to the Division I level, it was different, man. I would say you've got to balance your classes and all of your study time on top of a schedule where we would have 2-a-days 3 times a week. and we'd have lifting in there too. So we'd have lifting as part of the 2-day as well. So a Monday schedule would look like get up 4:45, be at the pool by about 5:15. Half the team is going to start in the pool just due to space. So the way the college team works is the men and the women swim together, which was super fun to be able to compete and train with the women. But anyway, we'd probably have half the team in the pool in the morning and then half the team in the weight room. They'd flip-flop for the second half of practice. And we'd be doing some sort of like relay preparation set. And when I say a relay preparation set, it's like 50s of whatever stroke you're working on kind of an intense time. So like maybe like 35 seconds. So you're doing a 50, you're probably doing it in around 30 seconds or a little bit under if you're doing freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're getting 6 seconds of rest and going again right away.
Wow. That's intense.
For long sets. And then in the weight room, we'd be doing standard lifting, stuff that keeps you in shape, builds muscle for sprinters, but not necessarily building a ton of muscle for middle distance. It's more about just keeping that shape that you have. And then on a later in the day, we'd have a second practice that was a full practice. And there'd be 2 different sessions depending on what your school calendar looked like. Tuesday, we just have 1 practice in the afternoon. Wednesday, we'd be back to probably a morning practice and then an afternoon practice with weights thrown in there somewhere throughout the day. Thursday, just an afternoon practice again. And then Friday, depending on if we had a meet or not, we'd probably have lifting and a practice too. So kind of a front heavy schedule every week. And it got easier. Once you're past Tuesday, you were like, man, I'm starting to make it through the week. So.
Wow. That sounds like an intensely rigorous training. It almost reminds me of boot camp in the Marine Corps. Just go, 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 go. And then just a few hours of sleep, get up, do it all over again, where it's just a lot of intensity at all times, where the moment you are idle, the moment you're sedentary, you could take a nap. You could fall asleep like that.
Oh, for sure with swimming, man. You're either after practice starving because of all the calories that you burn during that
I bet.
yardage. We'd swim, man, on the distance swimmers on a really good day when we're really hitting it 2-a-days, upwards of 10,000 yards. So getting in a lot of pool time. But sprinters probably doing jugs. Like I said earlier, jugs are, they're like weights on a pulley. So imagine like you're doing tricep pull downs, except instead of a tricep pull down, you have a belt that goes around your waist and you get in the pool and you have a certain number of weight and you try to sprint and lift that weight up as you're sprinting. So it's resistance training.
So similar to like running with a parachute, like for guys who are trying to build explosiveness, speed.
Yep.
I know they do that in college, or I don't know if they do something like that in the combine, but where they, you have to, you got a parachute or something like that, and you just take off.
Yep. And
we'd also swim with power.
We'd also swim with parachutes in the pool too. So
oh my gosh.
They're not as big, of course. They're probably this size, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the water though, even the smallest amount creates a lot of resistance.
Yep. And just working on keeping that good form through that strain on your body that you're pushing. So
let me ask you this: talent or hard work?
I'm always going to tell you I was the hard work kid. Like I said, when I was in high school, I wasn't a very big kid. I was talented. I definitely don't want to say that I wasn't. But I really worked for it. One more guy I want to give a shout out to on here that really helped me and pushed me. Actually, 2 coaches, kind of my 2 club coaches at the Peoria Area Water Wizards, RJ and Derek Ammerman, both dudes that super high energy guys. Derek especially. But I would tell you, he was definitely a hard work beats talent kind of guy. You always hear that saying, talent or hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. I would say that I really hustled to try to make sure that I achieved my goals every single day in the pool. And I think that that's how I really built a lot of respect from my coaches and my teammates by the way that I trained every day and pushed myself and pushed each other to be better. And I would say that talent is significant in swimming. If you're a super talented team, you're going to win a lot of meets. Because the mental piece of it is there. It's about pushing yourself, but it's not like you have to learn plays and understand a playbook. Talent is extremely crucial to swimming, but you can push yourself if you set a goal for yourself and you really want to go achieve something with the sport of swimming. If you work hard every damn day, you're going to get there.
I like that. I think that's really good advice for a lot of young people out there who are, thinking about choosing swimming, or they're already interested in it. They're involved in it right now. And that's just that golden nugget there to help keep them going to pursue it further in their swim career. So if people want to, actually, before I say anything else there, here's another question for you. Carson Foster or Caleb Dressel?
Oh man, I love my boy Caleb. I've got some pictures. I actually got to meet him in person in Vegas one year. Very fortunate to get some tickets from my buddies Mike and Dan to go to the International Swim League Championship at the Mandalay Bay Resort. And
that's in Vegas.
Yes, that is in Vegas. So got to meet a number of swimmers. And I got to sit with Caleb's family in the VIP section there. And his mom brought me down onto the pool deck to meet him. And incredible experience meeting the guy, but man, he's my dog. If I had to pick a college swimmer, not a college swimmer anymore, but a professional swimmer to emulate, I mean, Caleb's the guy, man.
And beyond that, I mean, were there any other great experiences in Vegas? I mean, with that swim?
Yeah. So I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole here with this one, but man, was that the coolest experience I think I've ever had in swimming, getting with the sport of swimming, getting to meet several childhood heroes and Olympians at this meet. Adam Peaty, who is probably the greatest men's breaststroker of all time. He'll be competing for Great Britain in the Olympics and
you met him
here, and I got to meet him. He's the one that supplied us the tickets because my buddy Mike did some clinics with him, or was supposed to do some clinics with him before COVID hit. But got to meet him and Caleb and spend a night on the town in Vegas with those guys and do a little gambling and kind of talk the talk with swimming.
That's awesome. So Michael Phelps.
Yeah, so in the VIP section, Michael was there. I was too shy to try to go up to him and interrupt him. He was being interviewed during the meet, but then was interacting with a lot of the brass for the ISL were in this section. Team owners, the league owner's wife was also in the section, sitting right next to him, and I was just some kid who was lucky to be there and didn't want to necessarily go up and interrupt him. But man, I was 10 feet from Michael Phelps, and really cool experience to be in the same area as the GOAT. So I don't know if we'll ever see another Olympic athlete like Michael Phelps, man. I'll defend that till the day I die, that he might be the best athlete of all time.
What is it, 13 gold medals?
I couldn't tell you the number of medals. I don't have that memorized.
I think he might even have more than that. Yeah, I think you're right.
He's crushed it over his time.
Hearing your story and how you describe it, it's almost like seeing a young kid and he sees Superman in person for the first time.
Oh yeah,
and he's just in awe. He's just shock. Wow, there's the guy. That's the GOAT. This is the guy you want to emulate. This is the guy you dream of being better than, but you wish you could be him at the same time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I love who I am. I've had that instilled in me by my family and my support system. I wouldn't give anything to be anybody else. I love being Andy Cooper every day and getting to do the things that I do, but it would be really cool to be Michael Phelps. So win 23 gold medals. So we got that tidbit of information kicked to us during this. So
yeah, I would say one of the best takeaways from this interview with you is getting to understand how Andrew Cooper personally is a very positive individual. He's very appreciative and humble with the opportunities that he's been given and the people that supported him throughout his entire life that wanted to see him success. I think that we certainly need more of that, and more people being that supportive of each other. I mean, your aunt was giving you, your aunt, not your mother, but your aunt in times of need was giving you rides to practice because, you know, mom wasn't able to make it due to, you know, maybe some extent, you know, circumstances, but they wanted to make sure no matter what that you go to your practice. You do not miss that because they saw the talent in you and wanted to see you succeed. I think that's fantastic. That speaks volumes of your home life, of your parents, and how they had such a great bond and love for their family.
Yeah, and I would say that if I can leave anybody that's listening to this with any message, it's that parents and support system does matter. Like kids really need that support going forward. If you have a kid that you believe is extremely talented, whether it's a coach, whether it's friends' parents, whether it's your own parents, whether it's your siblings, whatever it may be, try to support them the best that you can. I have a sister who's 16 years old who swims for Hudson High School, and I try to stay in touch with her as much as possible during swim season to talk through, hey, how were your races today? What did it look like? Can I give you any feedback or tips? And I know she gets annoyed with me, but I'm telling you, that support system is a big freaking deal.
It is.
I can't say that anymore.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? That's funny because I have a younger sister. Now she's not 16, she's 31. But she has, you know, she's got a love for running. She's got a passion for it like I do. And I'm constantly giving her tips. I'm constantly checking in on her. In fact, this summer, her and I are going to be running a full marathon together, the Cellcom. So shout out to any other runners out there. We're going to be running the full marathon, the Cellcom, this year together. She's coming up from Tennessee to partake in that with me. And I couldn't be more excited for her and proud of her because that's going to be a big undertaking for her, because that's the most she ever did was a half marathon with me. In fact, the Cellcom 2 years ago. So, you know, I've pushed her because I know she can do great things. Just got to give her a little nudge out the nest, and I'm looking forward to that. So I think that's very good messaging that you have there, 100% on, you know, please be supportive of each other. Please be supportive of someone who's interested in, you know, in sports, whether it's, you know, even in junior high, even in high school, even in college. You know, we need a lot of that because there's a lot of value that is from that. You know, it instills leadership qualities, it instills good, healthy habits. It instills. Would you say you gained a lot of discipline and a lot of structure from that as well?
Yeah, and I tell you again, I go back to the football thing.
Yeah.
Not that swimming doesn't teach those same values, but man, did I learn a lot from football as a young person and a young man. I really valued that experience, and that kind of like earn your way mentality. And I'll tell you this too real quick, that going from high school and being the king of the castle and then starting from the bottom of the totem pole and working my way back up in college, I learned all of that from football. So that football helped me get that mentality to be a fighter and not give up on myself just because I'm not the best as soon as I hit the water.
Yeah. So it's always good to be, it's even better to be a multi-sport individual, you know, rather than just one. I mean, it's okay to have one discipline, but to be involved in multiple sports, you're only further benefiting yourself with taking attributes from each one and building on that. It's like having an even better resume.
It builds your character, man.
Absolutely.
I tell you that. I'll tell parents that we're in a day and age of very individualized sports for kids. I don't frown on that, because I do think that like, hey, if you have a kid that's an extremely talented swimmer, you might not want him out there playing soccer or football where he could tear his ACL or get hurt that way, as he's approaching college, or she's approaching college, or they're approaching college. But I don't think that you have to be individualized. I think that there are a lot of athletes out there that have made it to the professional level that did do other sports growing up. And I do think that that's a key to my success has been, or a part of my success has been, that multifaceted approach that my parents allowed me to have.
I think that's very well said there. So for our viewers and listeners, if people want to follow the Cooper Gold Standard, how do they find you, man? You know, where do they find you on the socials?
Yeah, I mean, if people want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, just Andy Cooper is my name. You can look me up, or on Instagram, I'm CoopAP25, so COOPAP 25. Yeah, I also will be doing my own podcast here on sports with one of our buddies. It's going to be a little different than this, but it'll be a little bit more sports talk.
Okay, great. Well, Andy Cooper, I really appreciate the time. I think this has been great. I think the audience got a lot of better understanding of what swim is about between the high school and college level, and a lot of the values that it can instill in a person between teamwork, the camaraderie, and the discipline and routine. I think that's fantastic, man. So I really appreciate you being on, man.
Yeah, and appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about the great sport that swimming is and how it's impacted my life. If you have kids that are interested in being a member of a team in the Green Bay area, there are a lot of great club teams out there. Just look them up. Your local YMCA too has some good programs. So swimming is available and out there for you to take a chance on it.
Awesome, buddy. Well, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for being in. And we just got the 23 gold medals, by the way. Just got that from producer Chad. 23 gold medals Michael Phelps had. That's impressive.
Yep, the GOAT.
So
thanks for tuning in to After the Game, brought to you by Team 2, your all-in-one sports website platform. Team 2, we're not just a platform, we're a part of your team too. Until next time, stay in the game.